Welcome back to Faith Walk with Debbie. Got my buddy again, in case you happen to see her bob her head up. I thank God that the Thymoma surgery was extremely successful. After surgery, I took a month off work to recuperate, and I am still amazed that I was dismissed that day after surgery. Oh, I thank God that He answered prayer and I didn't have to stay in the hospital for 4 or 5 days. They sent me home with an oxy prescription, which I did not want to take. However, I was told if I stayed ahead of the pain, that was better, because if I didn't take it and the pain got super bad, then they would have to actually give me more medicine in order to be able to overcome it. So once the pain, would get bad, we didn't want that to happen. So I agreed to take the medicine. In addition, they had me alternate Tylenol and ibuprofen. Typically I do not take medication if I don't have to. And I tried to take less than they suggested. However, one day the pain did get 6 out of 10. And that was when I realized I needed to continue to take, closer to the recommended dose of the ibuprofen and Tylenol. I had already by that time stopped the oxy, and I stopped the oxy just a few days after surgery. But I did have to end up continue with the ibuprofen and the Tylenol for a lot longer than I expected, but it really did help. I had to stay bandaged for a couple days, and we were amazed how well the incisions looked after bandages were removed. I was bruised in some places, but not real bad, which was typical and normal. Because of the location of the incisions, I went several weeks without wearing a bra because the bra went right over where the incisions were, which made it very uncomfortable. Then the week after surgery, I felt really pretty good, and I moved around freely around the house and did whatever I felt like doing. My husband continued to do the cooking for several weeks. I would help here and there. I made sure I rested, which meant watching TV frequently in order to help my recovery go better. Christmas was different that year, though. Because of COVID and my surgery, my family did not get together on Christmas Day. So my husband cooked and just my mom joined us. Then on December 29th, I went to my local regular doctor, and I didn't want to have to go to Indianapolis to have the one stitch removed from where the drainage tube had been. So he removed the one stitch where the drainage tube incision was, and he said that it looked really great. Now, I thought the incision looked, or the stitch looked really weird to begin with. And then as it healed, it started to look better. And then after he took the stitch out, it looked even better. He was amazed at how well I was doing. He always had been amazed at how well I had progressed through this cancer experience. Then on December 30th, my husband and I met online with the IU surgeon through the computer again. She looked at my incision through the computer, and she said it was healing very well. She sounded like I had bounced back from surgery very well and did not need to take precautions like many of the other patients. She gave us great news. Pathological report after surgery proved that the tissue they removed was all dead and that they had gotten good margins. The surgeon had told me before she never would tell a patient they were cancer-free. And the reason was because there could be tiny cancerous cells floating around in the body. What she would say, though, was that I was a complete responder. And that meant that I had responded completely to the treatment and surgery. We discussed when I would return, back to work. She basically left it up to me, and we agreed a month would give my body time to heal because I had been through so much physically and emotionally the previous 11 months, and that I really needed a break, and the month off from work really did help rejuvenate me. While I was off recuperating, I had several medical procedures and doctor visits. Because I had already been gone over 6 weeks without my port being flushed, I made an appointment with the oncology office to flush my port. I had my 6-month dental cleaning, and I usually get a good report from that. I basically did this time, but I could tell from his reaction that they did not look as well as usual, and it's because of chemotherapy I had just gone through. Then on January 14th, I had my routine echocardiogram. A couple weeks later, I saw the cardiologist to get the echocardiogram results, and he said that the test results were good. He had wanted to reevaluate my situation after surgery because he said by then the chest pressure hopefully would have improved, and my chest pressure had improved greatly. I had feared I would have to go on blood pressure medicine because he had said back when I had my heart situation that he probably would put me on blood pressure medicine after I had surgery. But he said I didn't need it and that he would just continue to monitor it. So I was very grateful for that decision. He told me to get an echocardiogram in April, and as long as the results were good, I didn't have to see him again until June. So while I was off, I also began the radiation planning. And in the next post, I will explain about that in a lot more detail. But the month I was off was really refreshing. I was grateful I took that whole time off because the week before I went back to work actually was very tiring because I had a lot of medical appointments. Last year I had been told by my oncologist and acupuncturist that once surgery would be over, life would be a breeze compared to what I had been through. I had been looking forward to that. However, the week before I started back to work, reality hit. Medical appointments returned. Life didn't look like it was going to be a piece of cake. The next week, I was expected to return to work, which was going to be an adjustment. And that same week, I also had to start radiation treatments. I will say what I thought would be an easy street was a definite miscalculation. Once I returned to work, life became very difficult again. Once 30 radiation treatments began, life was hard again. And so I encourage you to check back next time as I begin a couple posts explaining the radiation process. I had no idea what that experience was going to be like. I took several pictures in order to give you a better understanding of what the radiation machine looks like, and I'll explain that process the next time. But I want to encourage you, if you happen to be weary and need rest, I want to leave you with this scripture from Jeremiah 31:25 in the New Living Translation. For I have given rest to the weary and joy to the sorrowing. So during that month off, God gave me rest. I needed it so bad. And it helped restore my weary soul.